Hi, so I am here with senior Miles Jackson and Shannon Rodgers. And why don't you first tell us a little bit about your experience with Theater at Mason?
So my first experience, the first play that I did as a freshman, which was the 25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. And I originally wasn't going to participate in Mason Theater because I had seen productions on the Mason stage before, and I was intimidated by the talent. And I thought I wasn't good enough, so I almost didn't do it. But then my middle school theater teacher, Miss Piscopo, pushed me to audition, and some of my friends, including Shannon, mostly Shannon, kept me in the theater room before we auditioned. I walked in and I was about to walk out. It's like, you'll be fine. I was like, okay. Yeah. And then it was good. It was a good audition, and I got a lead role as a freshman.
So my first experience with Mason Theater was with Miles, where we were in the audition room for 25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. So it was my first actual audition where you had to do a real monologue and like a song. And then, so we both got cast in Spelling Bee, and we were both at the callbacks for Spelling Bee, I think, which was terrifying. When I got a callback, I was like, oh man, okay. And I hadn't listened to any of the songs beforehand either, which I soon learned that you need to do research on shows before you audition for them, because going into that callback room is like getting thrown into it. And
So once you got in, how did it feel to be freshman and be in the musical?
I was blown away. Like, I wasn't going to audition originally because I thought I wasn't good enough to just like even be in a show. So it was like getting a callback was like incredible for me. I had never expected that to happen for me, and I didn't know what a callback was really. I'd never done a callback. And I just remember the first day I came in, like, people were like, hey, like, your callback was great, and like, you're super talented. And right away I felt like super included, and I don't know, I've never really been in any other environment other than theater environments that I felt like so supported so quickly. It's not just something that like I enjoy doing, but it's people that I enjoy doing it with.
My freshman experience was kind of different than Miles's, but what I quickly learned about myself just in those first two shows that we did in freshman year is I felt like I belonged in a theater community, definitely, because it's just so supportive immediately, and you immediately get that comfort of knowing that you're involved in something. It's really shaped who I am, and my freshman experience is pretty definitive of that.
So is there something unique about Mr. Northrop that you think helps set Mason Theater apart?
I remember something from Metamorphoses, because that show was kind of disjointed in itself because of the vignette style. Mr. Northrop kind of knew that. He was like, I want this cast to know each other. So what he had us do was, the first time we ran through the whole show, he had everyone sit in that room and not touch their homework, not look at their phones, but watch your other cast members perform. And I tell you, it was so amazing. Like, our first run through, when we got to the finale, I was actually like crying because we had Adam Hinden's music for the first time, and we got to watch each other's scenes, and it was just, you got to like appreciate these people's talents, and like getting to that final scene was just so emotional.
We had been working on each group had been working in their own rehearsal separately, and it was like the first time we all came together and we got to like see each other's work and what they were contributing to the whole, and it was such I remember that moment. It was incredible. So I mean, I think definitely, an unspoken hero of the theater department and Metamorphoses was Mr. Northrop.
He really cares.
He cares about, he cares about he cares about making a good show.
Mm-hmm.
And
he cares about us.
And so I just really appreciate, what he's doing on the sidelines to, get us to support each other and feel safe around each other to do what we need to do a great show. Now that I see where I am, he's been probably like the most influential person in the last 4 years for me.
So talking about Mr. Northrup as a constant, I'm guessing you've changed over the past 4 years. So how much do you believe you've changed throughout theater, both on the stage and off the stage?
I guess as a person, I've just really learned to love other people. I know that sounds really cheesy, but like every single time I see a new freshman walk into that room, I'm like, I hope they love this room as much as I do. Because that room has shaped me. And oh man, all the memories on that wall. So they have a ton of posters hanging up on the wall, just little fun inside jokes. And when I was a freshman, I was like, I'm gonna get up on that wall. That's my goal. And I haven't technically made it up on the wall as like a quote or whatever, but there's a picture of Miles and I and the Coney Bear family and Spelling Bee, and there's a lot of other inside jokes I'm in on. It's just honestly kind of shaped who I am within the past 4 years.
One of the things I've noticed about performing that has definitely changed for me is the way I feel before I perform and the way I feel while I perform. Before I go on stage, I can normally like feel my heart in my throat and like I can like see it pumping in my eyes and like
all of my emotions get like turned off and I'm kind of like
and then like the minute I get on stage, it's like it's like
so beautiful.
it switches immediately from nerves to like excitement, and then I'm just like excited. But for some reason this year I was nervous, but I was excited before I got on stage. I stayed excited.
I remember that first night you were like, I feel it.
Yeah.
I feel the energy.
I
and
felt
I was
it.
Like, good, Miles. I'm scared.
Is there any advice that you would give upcoming cast members or freshmen or just people coming into theater?
Everyone has to hold their own in theater, like no matter what you're doing. And so, like no matter how small the part is, like in Urinetown, I had like one main thing that I did, and that was I came out and I said a horrible joke that didn't make sense.
It was great.
And when we read through the script first, I was like, this is my time to shine. Like, I have a joke that's not funny, and also it doesn't make sense. And like,
but the important thing is you made it funny.
So then I made it funny by making it ridiculous. So I mean, like, and that Urinetown community, like I felt it. And so you need to, like, if anyone isn't putting in their best effort, then it's not as strong as it can be. So I think that's crucial. And something that like really makes Mason Theater special. And like, I'd hate for someone in my position as a freshman to not get the same or better an experience.
Yeah. What I would say is don't be afraid to make friends, because that's kind of the defining factor of people who come into the theater program. Like, they want to feel included, like you said. So you can't come into the theater department and just expect it to be included if you're not planning on making friends. Like with me, I try to talk to everyone. Like, I try to be like, oh, hey, hi, like, how are you? And even with the tech people, when the tech people are putting on my microphone backstage, I'm just like talking with them, and they're amazing. They're like such funny people. Yeah. And like, I just think that's the piece of advice that I would give to people moving through this department is always bring that to it. Always include people. Don't be afraid to reach out to people, because that can change someone's life.
Well, to finish up, is there any story or word or anything that you think would sum up your experience with Mason Theater?
This just came to my head. Do you remember the slow motion part in Urinetown when we were all fighting in slow motion? And Kathy, our choreographer, was just kind of like, just do whatever. And we were all like, all right. And so it kind of changed every single time.
Yeah. We made like little groups, and then we like all decided to like make a little, story that was happening.
Because we all had to be silent because there was a monologue going on that was ending Act 1. So we all had to be like fighting in the background or whatever. And it kept changing. Like who was in that scene kept changing. Where we ended up on stage kept changing. We were doing the third block preview for the school, and we were all so hyped to go on for the Act 1 finale. Like that's what we were excited for, because we just loved that number so much because the whole cast was on stage and we got to have fun with it because it changed all the time. And I remember Miles and I were slow motion fighting each other. I remember like going to punch you and us just like singing, and then Charlie said, well, that's it for Act 1, and then the bell went off. Do you remember that? That was so cool.
Yes.
So everyone was on stage just like having the time of our lives and like in a cast that we loved, and just the timing ended up so perfectly, and then we all exited the stage like,
it was
that
awesome.
was so cool. And it was just this moment of, look what we just did, and it was so awesome.
I'm pretty sure Mr. Northrup's favorite word is moment.
Oh wait, you're totally right.
And one of the coolest things that he said that I will always remember was during Metamorphoses. And we had, for that show, it was very short. Everyone was only responsible for a short little scene or 2 or 3. And the thing that he told us to do was to make moments. He told us to, like anything that you could do to enhance the scene, like some action, or some movement, or some way of like changing the way you say something, or a character choice. He wanted you to like, just as we rehearsed, to like add a new moment each time. And by the end of the show, it was so strong. Like we just like everyone was doing their own, like it was like Urinetown, we made a moment. We each like made our own little group, and we made a story. And when all of the characters have a story going on, no matter who's in the forefront, like that's so powerful. And I think the people saw that in Metamorphoses. And that is one of the most like objective things that I've learned over these 4 years, is to make moments in theater. Like once you get past like developing a character, once you get past learning your lines, once you get past blocking, choreography, whatever you have to do, singing, your job is to make moments.
All right. Well, thank you guys.
No problem.
That was great. I'm sure you'll be missed.
Oh gosh.
Thank you so much. That was great.
Problem.